Hey, Lee Robinson here at American Sentinel K9. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. The question came online about why create a new breed. And as the breeder that's behind the creation of the American Sentinel, I wanted to answer this question. But before doing so, I felt like a little bit of background information was important about defining what a breed actually is. And the reason why I say this is one of the things that I have observed over the decades that I've been involved in the canine community is a lot of people in the canine community, and especially in the general public, don't actually know what the word breed is. In case you didn't know, I've been teaching genetics and biology for 25 years. And in biology, we classify organisms based off of a system called taxonomy. And taxonomy basically says what we're going to do is we're going to itemize organisms based off of their characteristics and put them into categories that show them being identified by name for sharing certain characteristics. And those characteristics could be genetic similarities, it could be evolutionary history, it could be physical traits, whether the different structures that they may display. It could also be their region of location. It could also be even behavioral. And so, we will deal with basically different gene pools where individuals are defined on their characteristics. And so this is the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, and subspecies of an organism. And nowhere in this list does the word breed exist. So if we were to take this layman term breed and ask what is its scientific relevance, the scientific relevance would be well below subspecies. And that's because the domestic dog, which includes all breeds of domestic dogs, is Canis lupus familiaris. See, the wolf is Canis lupus. The wolf and the dog are capable of breeding together, so therefore they need to share the same species name, which is lupus. Canis lupus for the wolf, Canis lupus familiaris for the dog. And because a species is defined as a group of organisms that are capable of breeding together and producing offspring that can still reproduce with the original population. So if you have two individuals that are from different species, sometimes they may produce offspring, but the offspring are sterile. And so that's when, like, you have a horse and a donkey, which creates a mule is sterile. And since the mule is sterile, the horse and the donkey have different species name. But when you breed a dog with a wolf, you get offspring that still can breed back with a dog, a wolf, so they're all sharing the same name, or should be sharing the same name species. Okay? And I say should be because 30 years ago, the dog was known as Canis domesticus. About 20 to 25 years ago, it was changed to Canis familiaris because people said the dog and the wolf can breed together. And of course, it had to be changed again because familiaris is still a different name than lupus. So they changed it again to more correctly identify the species being the same, to Canis lupus familiaris. Now, why does this matter? This matters because now we have to ask what exactly is a breed. So if it's not a species and it's not even a subspecies because all domestic dogs are the same subspecies, then what is a breed? A breed is a layman's term that describes a family of dogs that display traits described within the breed standard. That's what it is. It's about a gene pool that basically produces individuals at a consistent rate that fit this description of the breed standard. And for a working dog, this should be some sort of performance-based niche. Now, some people focus on pedigree a lot when they're talking about a breed, and that's a little bit of a misconception. For example, with this, some people argue that the American Staffordshire Terrier and the American Pit Bull Terrier are the same dogs because they have the same origins about 100 years ago. Well, how much time does it take for that population to diverge? That's a factor of genetic drift. It's not a factor of gene flow, because gene flow is when you outcross. Genetic drift is when just basically you have a change of allelic frequency because as a result of some sort of directional selection that caused traits to become different, or it could also be a product of genetic mutation, which caused a new gene to exist in a population without any outcrossing ever occurring, and then that gene having an advantage, and so therefore it becomes selected for by the environment. And then the allelic frequency comes up, and this is what causes the change of species in evolution. So this same thing can happen in domestication. Allelic frequencies can change because certain traits become selected for, or perhaps a mutation occurs that cause an individual to have an accelerated performance or maybe a a worse performance. Like in the show dog industry, they're not really performance testing these hunting dogs in the show arena. They're not testing sled dogs. The husky of the show arena is not pulling a sled as a husky it would be up in the Iditarod. So the traits can change in domestication. And so because of that, it's not, a breed really isn't about the tracking of a pedigree. It's about the tracking of the displaying of traits described in the breed standard to do its particular performance-based niche, a task. This is how working breeds are defined. And so the reason I created the American Sentinel, and I don't believe in naming a breed after a person. I think that's a bit arrogant, and I also think that's a turnoff to attracting other breeders. And this is going to be essential for the long-term success of the creation of a new breed. You're going to have other breeders come in because it takes a massive gene pool to produce a consistent family of dogs over time. So I didn't name the breed American Sentinel after my own name. Not only is it arrogant, but it's counterproductive to the long-term goals of the breed's survival. We named it American Sentinel because American is the place of origin, and Sentinel is the primary task of the breed. It's supposed to be a family companion guardian. Yes, we do hog hunting with our dogs as well, but the primary goal is to be a guardian. So that's what the name is. And to do this, I needed a lot of people to be involved. And so I want those people to come in and be attracted to maintaining the program and feel like they're not going to be disrespected because they're breeding my dogs. So the American Sentinel became the name of our breed. And the standard is defined on traits. And then we want to improve those traits to always improve the performance. So the breed standard should really be talking about the performance of the dogs, not the pedigree of the dogs. And this is why outcrossing can occur. And if you choose to do that without changing a breed. Over here, outcrossing could create a hybrid that's sterile. But for all dogs, since they're basically the same subspecies, outcrossing doesn't create that problem. So I'm not concerned about outcrossing in a breed standard because it's going to be defined by the performance of those dogs. Now, why did I choose to create a breed? That's because none of the breeds out there were perfect for my own standard and expectations of what a dog should do. There were some that were very close, but they weren't exactly what I felt the ideal perfect dog should be. So I'm going to breed to my standard, and then I gave my standard a name. And that's why I created the new breed of dog, the American Sentinel. And nobody has to like my program to understand the reasoning. If they don't like my program, they can do the same philosophy and breed a dog towards their standards. Anyway, Lee Robinson from American Sentinel K9. I hope you like this video. If you do, give us a thumbs up and perhaps even click the subscribe button. Y'all have a blessed day.